Hey, professional practices. I wanted to come to you face to face with a brief video introduction of your revised remote presentation to end the semester. I had always envisioned us having some sort of final exam that took advantage of the chance to public speak about your specific research, art, or design. That said, our current predicament is not going to allow for a typical public speaking requirement, which is pretty customary for a professional practices class. And in turn, I've developed a couple of other options for us to work with instead. Today, I'm actually using Zoom to record the meeting, so you'll have to forgive me if I have a few technical errors. I'm not usually used to recording meetings to save out as MP4s through Zoom, but it is one format that may be available to each of you, so I wanted to use it as an option as we move forward with your final presentation. We still have some hurdles to jump, but all the hurdles are pretty low and manageable. We've got a lot of due dates coming up in rapid succession that have always been there since the beginning of the semester, with the exemption of a few things that have removed. That said, most of the hurdles are pretty quick to achieve. Even this final presentation, if you did a good job documenting your work and you have a good biography and a good artist statement, your final presentation may likely come together within an hour or two. It doesn't necessarily need to take that long. That said, I want to make sure you know that I'm available to, for each of you to jump any hurdles that you have with technology and getting some sort of link to a final presentation available for you and your peers to see. That said, let me try doing a screen share here with the current project. So I'm calling it the remote presentation. This is our new final exam. I've made the due date just a little bit later than what I think I had initially, which is Thursday, May 7th at 11:59 p.m. You're going to turn me in some sort of link to my email inbox. Be sure to test that link, of course, before you email it. The text in red is really the things that you need to pay the most attention to and that have changed the most since the beginning of the semester when we first talked about this presentation. So our goal is that you are able to share some sort of presentation about your work by Thursday, May 7th, that I will then be able to share with each of your classmates so they can see what you've been up to since last we met in person. It's important first and foremost that any presentation that you put together to share is 5 minutes or under. I do not want you to go over. This is about quality, not quantity. I can't stress that enough. It's more important that you're able to kind of package yourself in an elevator pitch style presentation about your work. What are the most important aspects, theme, media, subject, and the like about your creative research that are going to be important for you moving forward. The options that I've come up with are first, a narrated PowerPoint loaded to YouTube. Now this is pretty easy to create, and after I go through the different options, I'll actually open PowerPoint briefly to show you how to save out a PowerPoint presentation with voiceover narration. Now, again, I want this no longer than 5 minutes. PowerPoint offers the ability to record voiceover with slides pretty easy. So this gives you an option where, one, you don't actually have to be on camera, it's just images of your work. But I'd also recommend in that narrated PowerPoint, you add maybe some excerpts from your biography, your artist or design statement, other artistic or life influences. Remember, influences come in all shapes and sizes. They are not necessarily only other artists and designers. I know from my own personal experience, I'm extremely moved by Eastern philosophy. I'm sometimes, rarely, but sometimes moved by politicians. Other times it's a work of literature or a poem. There's lots of different aspects that go into influencing your creative production, and I kind of want you to take advantage of that. A few of you may even choose to include quotes or headshot. But again, don't exceed that 5-minute goal. Another option is some sort of web presence. Now, some of you are aware that our BFA students this semester that were destined to have their final exhibition in Giles Gallery are not able to have that opportunity anymore, nor are any student artists across universities across the United States. That said, web presence is something that we were initially planning to do, but I edited it out, but I thought I'd bring it back here as a possible option for your final exam. Some of you are already working on it. Some of you already have a website or other web presence, and this might give you the excuse to update it, to clean it up, to refine the copy, do better proofreading, upload cleaner, more focused images, and just basically kind of tailor your digital needs for your future career needs. That said, the same sort of rules apply. Keep this website simple. You need to upload at least 3 images of your work. They need to be properly titled or captioned. And by that, I mean at the least, you need to have the title of the artwork, the media it's made out of, the date, which can be just the year, and its size. I would also recommend on that web presence or uploaded portfolio that you include a biography and a statement. And I'll show you a couple options on that. Now, if you scroll down through the assignment, it gives guidelines for both that PowerPoint and for this web presence option. And I, of course, will meet with each of you one-on-one if you request. The last option is actually open. Knowing that each of you have different access to technology, you have different experiences with particular formats, applications, platforms, I'm pretty open to other avenues as long as they maintain the same rationale of sharing at least 3 of your works, properly captioned, and the result being a link that can be shared with your peers. There's lots of different ways for us to get our artwork out there. I could see in an option 3, one of you opening an Etsy store. That could be one possibility for a few of you. Some others, you might have some other platforms you'd be interested in trying, and I'm open to hearing about them as long as the base presence of the work remains the same. Now for that uploaded PowerPoint, for the narrated aspects to it, if I actually go here to, let's change to PowerPoint for a screen share. So this is a PowerPoint I made for my 3D design class. There's nothing particularly special about it except that I was able to do voiceovers. Now I'm on a Mac platform today, so the screen that you're looking at could look a little bit different than your PC platform. Now if you don't have PowerPoint but you're still interested in this method, there are some other internet options like, or software, online software-based options like Prezi that you might be able to use instead. PDF also has an option for you to do visual presentations like this, but I have not played with the ability to do voiceover. So kind of pick accordingly. If you run into kind of an insurmountable barrier, we'll work around it. That's what we have to do. And we're good at it. We're artists and designers. The barriers are our business. So this particular presentation was flat to form. It's just a basic PowerPoint presentation. It's about 31 slides, but with my long-winded narration, I think it ended up about 40 or 50 minutes long for the students to have to listen to. And slide by slide, you can actually see I recorded voice to go with each one. And it ranges from a little over a minute to sometimes 2 or 3 minutes, or a little bit less. But when you're in PowerPoint, if you actually click over to slideshow, you can actually click record slideshow, and it'll let you voice over audio for that particular slide. So if you've actually arranged your slides accordingly, put them in the order that you want for the presentation. You can have your captioning information here, and since this was for a foundations level class, I have the artist's name, the title of the artwork, of course, in italics, the media, and the date. Now, this is a traditional caption that's used most of the time when artists or designers are talking about their work in a job interview situation or some other type of public presentation. You can have more than this or vary this captioning formula. I just want you to do the captioning neat and informatively. This gives access to what we're doing in several ways. If you just had the image and you're relying on your voice to talk about the title and the media, we run into accessibility issues. If somebody was hard of hearing, they're not going to be able to hear your voiceover. So having some text on the screen becomes particularly helpful. I don't want you to be bogged down with having a ton of text, but you can have some screens that have text only. Maybe it's part from your biography. You don't necessarily need to read the text to the audience either. I would suggest sort of speaking more naturally and off the cuff, kind of how I'm painfully trying to do with you right now today. When I go to save something like this out, after I go through each slide and I'm able to include some sort of voiceover, I want to go up to my ability to save. So I'm kind of looking here at the overall presentation. I'm going to go up to File. And there's a couple of ways we can export this as a PDF, or I'm sorry, as an MP4. An MP4 is the file type that you want if you intend on uploading your presentation to YouTube as your outcome for this exam. Now, when I go to export, I'm going to be given some options here to retitle it. I want you to use the same sort of titling formulas we've been using all along this entire semester. Your last name, first name, underscore, final exam, or something that references this particular project. Save this out probably to your desktop to start, but I want you to pay special attention to the file format. If I intend on saving it out for YouTube, I want to click MP4. Now, in most cases, you're going to get some sort of presentation quality for you. You can actually pick just internet quality because this is going to take some time. Now, your presentations are going to be 5 minutes or under, but that might take 5 to 10 minutes for it to actually process to be able to get an MP4 that then you can upload to YouTube. I already actually saved this out, so I'm not going to do it again, but I would normally select internet quality and then hit export. Now, most of you are already aware of this, but a few of you it is new. Export is slightly different than save or save as. Most newer PowerPoint Microsoft software on your computers are going to require that you go to an internet quality MP4 through export. You can sometimes do this through save as, but I don't find that option as often. I would recommend before you get knee deep in the thick of recording your presentation that you make a 1 or 2 slide presentation and you test this out. You test saving it as an MP4. Can you get it on your desktop saved out and titled properly, just to make sure that your software is updated accordingly. I cancel out of this for now, stop my screen share. Now, a couple other options that you have are, of course, some sort of website. Now, with the website option listed, you can kind of, how shall I explain this? You can upload a free portfolio to the internet, or you can actually pay to play, which would be buying your domain and subscribing to some sort of web hosting system. I'm going to go back onto screen share and talk a little bit about those options again. So if I scroll down through the assignment, I give all these guidelines and helpful hints on how to do a good narrated PowerPoint presentation for you to upload to YouTube. Our second option, that web presence option, I've outlined 2 ways and then given you some hyperlinks to actually choose from to investigate. Again, these are my recommendations, but I'm open to other possibilities. So don't feel like, since I've provided just these web links, that these are the only portfolio upload sites that you're allowed to use. If it's something that you can use for free and use effectively, I'm going to be happy with your outcome. Now, as mentioned, this is going to be 3 images of your work, properly titled and captioned, with a biography and statement included in some capacity. You're also welcome to upload your resume, but I'm not going to require it. For a lot of you, I usually recommend just linking to the PDF as an upload versus posting your whole resume online. That's a bridge you can cross a little bit later. I want to keep this simple and efficient for you, so minimum at least 3 works of art, properly titled and captioned with that bio and with that statement is going to be enough to fulfill this requirement. I've run a couple tests myself because we recommended these methods to our BFA students in replace of their show and Giles Gallery for this semester only. And I ran some tests and I could actually upload a web portfolio within about 15 minutes from my phone using the phone app. Now, 2 free options that are out there, of course there's dozens of free options, but 2 free options that I find fairly reliable are Behance and Adobe Portfolio. I've used Behance with several students in the past, and it's probably the one I'm going to recommend. And if you actually click on it, you're going to get that screen to show up so you can take a look at it. Unfortunately, that's not sharing automatically, so I'll come back to that. Behance and Adobe Portfolio are very easy. If you have the photos you want to upload on your phone, on your desktop, or in a photo library on your computer, edited and ready to go, this is going to be pretty efficient. Now, if you do it from your phone, just make sure everything's edited and ready before you actually start uploading to the app. You don't want to have to stop partway through to edit an image that you overlooked. If you're doing it from your desktop or your laptop, I recommend putting the images in a folder on the desktop for you to access. That'll make things a little bit quicker. This ideally should be pretty stress-free, but more importantly, I wanted it free in general. A lot of us are doing for cash right now. Some of your employment situations may have changed, so I wanted to make sure that there was a free option out there. And with the case of the web presence, the disadvantage is, yes, you have to basically create some sort of website, but you don't have the public speaking engagement or the voiceover requirements that you do with option 1. Now, the second option in your web presence is actually an individual web page. A few of you had mentioned, and I've been corresponding back and forth with you, about creating your own website from scratch. Now, designing from scratch is great, but when there's so many good templates out there, even though you have to pay for them, it is money well spent. I have some recommendations of website options out here, but if you go for the individual web page, understand that you're probably going to be paying about $120 a year. This is going to be the cost of your domain in addition to subscribing to some sort of templated site. Now I've put some links down here towards the bottom of the assignment that I've forwarded you of options for you. Squarespace being one, Dunked, which I use. I threw in my website if you want to see a Dunked example. Weebly, Wix, SmugMug, which is really made just for artists, and Cargo Collective is a company that I used to use. Now, several of these companies, I believe Squarespace, Cargo Collective, and Dunked are running discounts for students. Actually, Weebly might be as well. Take a look at the different websites, look around and see if you can actually find one of these at a deep discount or for free if you decide an individual website is what you want right now. I'm not heavily recommending this option if time is of the essence for you right now. I think the easiest option is probably uploading to one of these free portfolio pages. Then the second easiest option is going to be creating this narrated PowerPoint and uploading it to YouTube. The beauty of the narrated PowerPoint is you are able to record each of those slides individually until you get it right. Unlike today with Zoom, I have to kind of do this all in one fell swoop. So that gives you two main options for some sort of final presentation. I still stand by the possibility of one or two of you doing an Etsy store. I know Cassie had mentioned interest in doing that before. If there's some other avenue that I'm not thinking of that you're interested in exploring, as long as the outcome is that you're sharing at least 3 images of your work and somehow your biography and your artist statement are included in that presentation, if the outcome is a shareable link, you're probably within the parameters of this final exam. Our goal here needs to be kind of humaneness. People are busy, people are stressed. We're under a great degree of emotional turmoil as we're navigating quarantine. This is new for a lot of people. For artists and designers who work alone a lot, it might not feel quite as different than your day-to-day life. My husband, for example, he works from home, so really his day-to-day situation hasn't changed very much, except for the fact that I'm here and I'm cooking more often than usual. With that though, I hope that you'll reach out and let me know first what option you're favoring and how I can help you reach that goal. Enough of you are not putting me to work. You're not asking me hard questions. And I guess I'll kind of cap the conversation today, or at least this one-sided conversation, with saying that even though as of May 7th, you'll upload this presentation and you'll be done with this class, I'll enter your grade, a grade that I'm being pretty lax with. My first thoughts when this whole situation came down was that I still wanted to work you hard so we could get a lot of the material and the conversation started about being a professional in the fields of art and design. But I wanted to make sure that I was grading you fairly, if not even easily, in the outcome. If you turn things in on time, I'm willing to let you revise it into perpetuity up until that May 7th point, as long as you're not creating a ton of extra workload for me. In return, I want to be giving you really thorough feedback. As we move into summer months or even into next fall, if there's something that I can help you with, by all means, reach out. Just because our semester will come to an end here in about a month, a little less than a month from today, I want to make sure you understand you have access to me beyond that. That's normal with any class that I teach, any semester, but I think that's even more important to note right now, given our predicament. So a lot of you are early enough in our program here at Eastern that this class is going to give you new questions to ask as you finish your education here. But you're also going to have revised artist statements. You're going to have questions about your web identity, how to promote your work, how to apply for funding for different big projects that you're interested in competing for, and just how to get a day job. You still have access to me despite this class coming to an end. And I will likely probably invite you back into the class in the fall if you're interested in sitting in on other conversations and visits that I intend on having, things that we weren't able to do as much of today. With that, I bid you farewell. Let me know if you have any questions about the current project, and I'll reach out to you guys individually and through Facebook, as well as keep on posting things to Blackboard in the interim. I'll talk with you soon. Thanks.